The teacher, the student, and the hair. Should it be a big deal? Absolutely it should. And I'm going to break down in 5 little sections of why this should be. The end part is a part that no one has mentioned, no one has considered, and I think it is maybe the greater part of all of this. I'm going to read from my notes because I want to keep this just on point because it's easy to veer off because of the type of situation that it is. Okay, the first section I want to go, considering what may be obvious. Is this a display of lack of professionalism? Is he being too comfortable? Is he showing a power dynamic, or could he be displaying ego? Could this be related to a fetish? Could it be grooming? Is he living out his childhood of being the popular one? Or is his mentality or social skills closer to the teens than it is his own peers? His own peers. Maybe he can have trust issues, and this is his way of gaining trust through a dynamics of people who would more look up to him, so he can garner the trust that he may need for himself. And though this is a wonderful thing that students and teachers can be relatable in the way that they appear relatable to some degree, not all the videos, but the ones I've seen, there still is an issue because I was watching this video from this YouTube channel, Make It Make Sense, where one of the subscribers was having a group chat, and she mentioned how that school district has and that particular school has the worst grades per student. Now, my thought was, when I heard that, is he posted all of this fun stuff, but I didn't see anything educational. Now, I didn't look at everything, but far as I see, nothing is educational. But he's teaching science. Science is very interesting and can garner the same kind of attention to me than this other stuff. To me, he should have had a perfect blend, but he didn't have a perfect blend. And one of the problems with him not having a perfect blend is because the Bible says, a false balance is an abomination to God, but a just weight is his delight. When pride cometh, then cometh shame. But one who is lowly in wisdom, the integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgression shall destroy them. Proverbs 11, 1 through 3. And what that means is that everything should have a balance. Nothing should be off cue. One side should be greater than the other. And because he only showed the fun stuff and not the other stuff, then here we go with an abomination because there's a false weight. So with his delight of having fun, the shame also comes with it. The Bible that says this is what happens when you don't have a perfect balance. Now let's get into the facts. Now, the fact is, let me say this first. When you look at him, his statue, his appearance, if you saw all of them grouped together, he looked like a student. He doesn't have really too much of a distinguished presence that separate him from being a student to a teacher. So some of these students could be looking at him as a peer. Some could be looking at it as a big brother. I'm not sure how many would look up to him as a father figure because of that reasoning. But not saying they can't and they don't. But that's a dynamic that should be considered. Another thing is, why was TikTok on his mind during the time of he's in class, he's on the clock, he's being paid to teach? However, his mindset is on TikTok and not only just making a TikTok video, but being live on while he's on the clock. So that's unprofessional in itself, and that leans to why would that be his main focus? Now, one thing that he said was that that this was because he had a hair appointment, but he had something early in the day at the school where they were taking videos or doing or taking pictures or whatever, and he wanted to make sure that he looked presentable, so he didn't want to take out his hair. My question to him would have been, why didn't you just reschedule your appointment because you knew this? But it also lends to know that this was a pre-planned situation because all 5 girl students that was doing his hair all had combs with picks, rat tails, and or metal picks at the end to be able to take it apart. Now, when you look at the majority of the students, their hair is braided. What are the chances that all 5 of these girls are going to be carrying those type of instruments with them on a daily basis? So that leads me to believe that either he planned it and had those combs, and or they planned it together. But another part of this is the fact that he actually took those kids, not only in his class, but but from another class, which means that he was cognizant of who he wanted to even participate in this particular thing. So then let's go to the effects. The effects of this is this. Consider how you would feel as a parent. Just say you're coming to pick up your child from school. You get there early. So you go inside of school, you're looking for your child. And you see her she's doing her teacher's hair, taking out these plaques. Or more still, you go to your children's class and she's not in there. And then you find she's in another class where she don't really belong, taking out the teacher's hair. How would you feel? And this situation could have been just the teaching. As a woman, you can go off, but as a man, can you imagine if a father came in looking for a child and his child not in the right class and she in this class doing this man hair? What would he be thinking? Like, what else is she doing? What else is going on here? So I want everybody to consider this. So even if this man didn't have any ill intent, the presence of it make it appear that it's a possibility that he could have. And not only that, it lends to is a possibility that these children could see that invitation as being something other than what it is. So that can cause a problem. Also, I want to say that handpicking those students shows favoritism and or partiality. And the Bible clearly says, but if ye has respect, partiality to person, ye commit sin and are convicted of the law as a transgressor, meaning an offender. And I believe that's what is it? Was it? I'm sorry. It'll come back when I post it up here. But anyway, then that means you transgressed against the law of God because you don't supposed to be showing partiality. Picking those students from your class and even from another class to come is a transgression. So let's go to Revelation. What's the revelations of this thing? First of all, the teaching behavior, as we said, is definitely inappropriate. And it was very dangerous. And the reason why it was dangerous is because we're talking about touch. We're talking about now the senses of a person is being heightened. You're talking about as far as when you're looking at seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. The only thing that's absent from here is the physical taste. But you got people touching each other. You have the closeness of something that should not be that close. So that's going to cause some other situation, which also in James 3:1 it says, my brothers, be not anxious to be teachers, for thou shalt receive the greatest condemnation, meaning the greatest judgment. So when people are being teachers, they have to realize I need to watch what I'm doing because my judgment is going to be greater in the eyesight of God than anybody. So as we go down and talking about these things, let me explain something. You know how you have a situation where you might be rubbing your neck or you're scratching your head and it's relaxing. Then you have somebody like this situation, somebody's doing it, and you can get that same feel. So you'll get that same relax or gratification that you're getting, that you normally get from yourself or somebody else that really shouldn't be able to invoke that feeling. They don't know they're doing it. You may not have known they was going to do it, but now it's present. Now there may be some connection to that. Also, you have a situation where when you're talking about sensories, you're talking about the soul. That is already one thing to have spiritual transfers if you near a person. But if you are touching a person and you are touching, and even in that manner, you can easily have spiritual transfers. And that is very, very, very dangerous. Another thing I want to add is that teacher, it was a guy that used to watching all these videos on YouTube. This lady was posting her family's stuff with her kids. So everywhere this kid was, she posted it. This man saw it, knew that she was going to be at the school at this event. He signed up for the event, came out of state to this event to distract this young lady and take this little girl, 6-year-old, take her with him. It was two ladies there that were like, he seemed a little off, called the police and found out when it came down to it, he was trying to steal these children. That teacher and those students had identifying marks on their clothes to identify where these children were. So if you have a predator or somebody that felt that these children was easily manipulated, then they know where to find them. So this whole thing is very dangerous. But again, the sensory, the touching, The closeness is very dangerous because not only can it invoke some emotion, but it can also invoke spiritual transfers, which can be dangerous to both the students and the teachers. So I just wanted to add that tip.